I wish that I'd grown up knowing about these women. I think they're so empowering.
We're here for the new series A Thousand Blows, which, if I'm correct, takes place in the 1880s, in the late 19th century, Industrial Revolution, Victorian era. And the first thing that popped into my head, what makes this time for you as actors so compelling?
I think what was so compelling to me is kind of playing against what you just said. Like, I think the idea of playing a historical character is kind of, it's too 2D for me. So I think what was interesting was trying to find the beating heart of this thing and actually leaning into these people, essentially, and figuring out how to bring them to life and bring them into conversations that we should be having today. Like, that's what I thought was the most exciting part about it. The fact that we haven't told these stories, and why do we need to tell them now? So actually, my instinct was to run away, maybe out of fear, I don't know, but run away from the historical aspect of it and just make them as real and as necessary today. That was like my kind of instinct with the whole thing.
Yeah, same pretty much. I mean, you know, you've got the costumes that are of that time, you've got a dialect and a language that's of that time, and, you know, you have the set, which was incredible, that will clearly be of that time. And so it allows you to just be a human being, do you know what I mean? Like, humans from whether they were 200 years ago or the same today. So, yeah, that's our job, is to just bring that humanity, and everyone else's job to put it in context, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting time period to pick up on within British history, if you look at it. And I suppose what we could say was different about this from a Steve Knight perspective, and, you know, in many ways the bravery of Disney to make it in certain ways, do you know what I mean? We were looking at a different side of things that we don't really get the chance to look through. Do you know what I mean? We look through a different prism to have a look at these people. And these are working people who, you know, many immigrants and migrants that have come over to help make this country what it is. And back in those days, they were promised these, you know, come and help us rebuild these streets of gold. I have to be mindful not to get too political, as the same way they did in the 80s with Liverpool and the rebuilding of, like, London itself, do you know what I mean? When all the workers used to come from Ireland and Liverpool to help regenerate this area in London, like King's Cross and all of them kind of areas. That's what my uncle's done. I've gone off tangent. I shouldn't have gone there, but I've gone there. Okay, let me get back. So it's kind of, you know, the heart of these people that we never really get to see, because we only get to see the glossy, colourful images that we read in history books. Whereas this is a different, we're scratching beneath the surface, because ultimately these people from that world, on a daily basis, we have to survive. You know, food is scarce back in them days, you know, jobs and what being paid. And, you know, if you look at it, and kids were in work factories still. That's where she came from. That's where I was, my character. Do you know what I mean? So we have to look at it from that perspective. And I think that's the beauty of Steve's writing. He creates this wonderful tapestry, what we can really immerse ourselves in as actors. And then ultimately what Malachi and Erin have both so beautifully and eloquently said, we then have to find the truth. And we bring our truth and our own experiences and understanding to those characters to the best we can of our ability, I think, do you know what I mean? And ultimately, look, don't get me wrong, I can talk deeply and philosophically about it, but it has to be entertaining. Do you know what I mean? We're not making a history programme, and we're not, you know, that's not what it is. Otherwise, go and watch something, you know, on the History Channel. No disrespect to the History Channel. I've gone off on one, haven't I? But what we are doing is entertainment. But, you know, ultimately, we try and show truth and reality of what was going on at this time. And we have that historical context to look at. So we take all of this information and then we basically make it our own. That's our job, basically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's bloody entertaining. I can say that much.
Great.
And the point I'm clung on to the most is the whole 40 Elephants gang stuff. Did you know about the gang beforehand? Because I'm a German, I've never heard of that before. Is that something that English people learn in school or in London school?
No, we don't get taught about it at all. And that was the hook for me, was the fact, as Stephen just said, like the fact that these women really existed and the fact that they did all these incredible things. And we haven't heard about it yet. It just blew my mind. And I just thought, I want to be a part of that. I wish that I'd grown up knowing about these women. I think they're so empowering. But across the board, like regardless of the fact that they are women, I just think what they did was so incredible.
Yeah.
It's astonishing to me that we haven't told their story. So no, it's not something that you learn about in schools, and I'm really, really excited that I get to be a part of bringing them into people's consciousness.